Man, it's been a while. You know what time it is. Will Uber and Lyft drivers still be able to make $2,000, aka 2 racks a week in 2026? Let's talk about it. But before we get to the topic, I just want to show you some numbers for the past few weeks of what I've been earning. So I'll probably put it up somewhere around here on the screen. Bam. So check it out. So these numbers are still doable in 2025, and I think they're going to be doable in 2026. I know a lot of you guys may have some concerns because the market conditions have changed, the pay, the hours, hell, even your motivation has changed. But one thing that remains consistent is that discipline always wins. Today I'm going to share some tips how you can still win at the end of 2025 and you could carry that momentum into 2026. And also why the habits are the real secret to consistent high earnings. Okay, so I know it's been a while. It's been about 3 months since I posted a video. So I know you guys may have some concerns like, damn, Ronnie Speed, where have you been? Like, what's been going on? Are you okay? Are you depressed? Are you still driving? I'm gonna address all of that just in a bit. Just wait. Okay, so the goal of this video isn't just to inspire you to keep earning $2,000, aka 2 racks a week, but it's also to show you why the habits you build on the way there matter more than money itself. Because when life happens, when the market slows down, or when you lose motivation, it's your habits, your structure, your discipline that carry you through. Okay, so for those who don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Ronald Spears, aka Ronnie Speed. I've completed over 46,000 Uber and Lyft trips. Been doing it a little over 9 years. I think 7.5 of those 9 years have been full-time. On this channel, we talk about readapting, visioning, levitating, or as I call it, the RVL method. And this method has helped hundreds of drivers across America and also 2 different countries hit $2,000, aka 2 racks a week. So far, I have 114, I think, recorded videos on my channel, maybe 113. So if you want to check those out, you can just go to my channel, go to podcast, and you can see all of those winners across different markets. So if you haven't made $2,000, you could go to that playlist and get inspired, learn something, hear some game, and hopefully you could hit $2,000. Quick disclaimer. I'm not promising that you're going to make $2,000, but I am promising that you will have a better experience. You set better goals and you develop in the process if you do follow some of the advice from this channel and some of the advice that the 2 racks a week winners have shared on their journey. And one more disclaimer. I'm not suggesting people should quit their job and do this full time. We're using rideshare as a launch pad, not just to make money, but also to build structure, discipline, and the momentum towards something greater. But so without further ado, let's go on to the video. Okay, so it's been a minute since I dropped a video, approximately 3, maybe 4 months. But trust me, I haven't been sitting still doing nothing, being idle. I've been putting in some work behind the scenes. I've made $2,000 a few times at the beginning of the year, but the past few weeks, I've really been killing it, been locked in. But lately, my goal hasn't just been to hit that number. It's been to build something greater. Like I said earlier, I've been focused on developing products for my audience, redefining the RVL method, and laying the foundation for my marketing agency. You know, this is going to be something that will help more drivers and entrepreneurs create systems, structure, and income beyond the car. And I'm going to be 100% transparent with you. To make $2,000 consistently these days, you have to drive more hours, unfortunately. It's a little bit tougher, of course, but it's also possible. The markets have changed, the pay per trips have changed, but the principles will always remain the same. Discipline, strategy, and focus will always help you win. Okay, so for you guys who don't know, I've been treating rideshare pretty much like a classroom. I've been using the platform to sharpen my mindset and build business skills. And my goal is to leverage all this information into my entrepreneurial goals. Okay, so every trip I take, every hour I drive, every person I interview who made 2 racks a week is helping me and fueling me to get to the next chapter of my life. Okay, before I get into the tips, I want to get into what it's been like living in Las Vegas for the past year. If you guys don't know, I moved to Las Vegas last year at the end of July. So I've been here over a year now. So it's about 15, maybe 16 months. not too shabby. So before then, most of my trips had came from the San Francisco Bay Area. So for the newcomers, that's where I got most of my trips from, and now I'm in Las Vegas. So I'm gonna give you a recap of the things that I've learned since I've been driving here. Living in Vegas has been quite the learning experience, you know. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, my goal was to hit $2,000, and which I achieved. I did it a couple times, but not as consistent as I've been doing it now. Honestly, it didn't take too long because I just pretty much applied those same principles that I've been doing when I was driving in the Bay, but now I did it in two different markets, not too shabby. But over the past few weeks, something has clicked. You know, my consistency has really been sharpened and I've really been on fire. But let me be clear, it's not luck. Sometimes it's not even really the market. It's about understanding the game of what it takes, you know, to be a successful driver and how can you be consistent and how can you earn 2 racks a week. It comes from knowing your market, recognizing the money-making seasons, and most importantly, having the structure, the discipline, and execution to move with purpose when it counts. Living in Las Vegas has taught me one major thing. You have to have rhythm. One thing I discovered is the fall, the winter, and the spring are the strongest seasons for rideshare. People are in town for conferences, conventions. People are here to party, see shows, concerts, you know, gamble, just sporting events. You know, they're here just to have a good time, man. Las Vegas is one of the most iconic cities in the world. So they come here to experience all those things in these particular months. But once late spring hits and the summer rolls in, that's when things started to slow down, especially during the weekdays. Oh, God. And that's what I learned doing this market. And this year was different from last year because now I have pretty much the whole tail end of spring and the whole summer to experience it. So I'm thinking, okay, summertime, it's gonna be popping. You know, people gonna be flying in for pool parties and other activities. But some of the locals was telling me, oh man, like summertime is like the slow season here. And not only that, you know, a lot of reports indicate that tourism has went down like 11% or something like that in the past few years. So, you know, it's on the decline. So I'm like, dang. So I had to readapt to that situation. So after driving here for this amount of time, I'm going to leverage this information. So for 2026, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to plan around these particular market conditions. So when the rides slow down, that's my signal to double down on building my business and to invest time developing new products, refining my system, and creating better opportunities for myself and also others. And I'm gonna be real with you. I haven't done too many fun things since I've been living here. You know, I'm not out every week partying. I don't gamble. I don't drink that much. And I'm not really on the strip unless I'm really driving. So my main focus has been building, you know, creating a foundation for the life I really want. And I'm pretty much fine with sacrificing on those missed opportunities because if it leads to my long-term goal, achieving that, hey, that's all I really care about. And now I'm going to share with you what's been like the hardest part for me. Like what have I been dealing with or struggling with these past few months or this year, especially, you know, after moving, changing markets, pretty much relearning a whole new industry. What's your challenges, Ronnie Speed? Okay, so I'm gonna say the biggest thing that I've been struggling with lately is it's not motivation. I don't think it's never going to be motivation. I think it's pretty much time management. And I know a lot of you can relate to this because when you're trying to balance driving enough hours so you can cover your bills, stack some money for savings, and you still find yourself to build something outside of driving Uber or Lyft, it's not as easy as it sounds. You know, some days it feels like there just isn't enough time out the day to do everything. You know, earlier this year, you know, my shift focus, like if you've seen some of the early videos from this year, it wasn't about chasing 2 racks a week. You know, I was trying to chase, you know, my long-term goal. You know, I started putting more energy into like business projects. Like I said, building products for my audience, working on my agency, and something's gonna have to give, you know, like something is going to suffer trying to do a bunch of things at once. So it came with a cost. So I had to learn how to juggle multiple things, you know. And when I say juggle multiple things, it's either drive more and spend less time, you know, on the business, or spend less time on the business and drive less and have less money. That's the conflict. And of course, there were weeks when I fell behind on my driving goals because I was buried on projects. And there were weeks where I drove heavy, but then I didn't make progress on my business. So that imbalance could wear you down mentally if you're not aware, if you're not careful, and most importantly, if you're not structured. And that's when I realized everything, and I mean everything, comes to structure. Either you manage your time wisely or your time manages you. So when you don't have a system, your days they get all like crammed and jumbled up. It's like you try to do a bunch of things without really having like a structure. Like, okay, around this time I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna wake up at this specific time. I'm gonna spend this time in the gym. I'm gonna spend this time working on a project. So you don't feel like any form of guilt. And I was feeling like, you know, at times, you know, a lot of guilt because I wasn't really maximizing everything and being as optimal as I should. And that's what you pretty much want to take, like from, you know, my challenges, you know, these past, let's say, few months. That's why I really haven't been posting, because it's like, man, I really want to, you know, hit this goal. You know, I've been driving long enough. I know I could do other things and make way more money than what I'm making now. But, you know, it takes time, you know, because driving is the main money maker. So it's hard because you got to balance all these things. That's pretty much what's going to happen at times. You know, it's kind of expected. You're going to fall behind at times, but it's not okay just to stay there and do nothing and accept that. Like, that's why, you know, the RVL method is so important, you know, readapting, because you have to reset at times, you know. You have to find a new rhythm and something that works for you, because like I said, without the structure, you would never achieve the goals or achieve the freedom that you desire. And when I say freedom, it's really like freedom of time to do what you want to do and spend times on things that really matter to you. And that brings us to the next valuable piece of information that I have to share with you is, you know, adversity, man. You're going to have to overcome adversity, and I got hit with it, you know, once again. Recently, my car, uh, it's running, but I need to replace the engine. So basically, you know what that means. I'm in a rental car through the Hertz program, and we know why they call it Hertz, because it hurts your pockets. Yeah, so I think on my engine I have to replace like the head gaskets. I can't remember what they said because it's been almost 2 months since I had the rental, but I'm in the process of, you know, fixing the engine. So stay tuned for that. I'll get to that later. But yeah, like I said, I'm driving a rental. Maybe I'll show you next video. It's a Buick Encore. So it's about $415 a week. That's why I call it Hertz. But honestly, you know, after looking at it, it kind of sucked like when it first happened, because it's like, damn, I'm gonna have to get a rental, and you already know how much money that's gonna tie up. But it is what it is. But it's been a blessing, and I'm gonna tell you why so far it's been a blessing. It's pretty much forced me to tighten up my discipline. It's pushed me to think creatively, you know, find new ways to actually earn money outside of Uber. And like, I have ways and things that I've been working on, but for me, I don't think like the speed, I should be moving with a little bit more speed and a little bit more urgency, creating concrete deadlines and moving faster. You know, I think that's what I really need to buckle down on, because I think I was a little bit, you know, too comfortable. You know, like the driving part, that's easy. Like, if I really want to make 2 racks a week, I could just go out there and drive and make 2 racks, and that's the easy part. But this is like a whole new avenue, a whole new skill that you really have to work your way into and build on those, you know, those habits, especially if you're driving 60, 70 hours a week. So this is a little bit different and a little bit more challenging for me, but I'm actually enjoying it. So it's not like I haven't been doing, like I said, been doing anything. I've been working on a lot of things, but the time management aspect was my struggle. And as I reflect and look back on some of the things I went through this year, and also just through my whole, let's say, five, let's say 5 years since I've been making videos and doing the 2 racks a week challenge, and talking to people. I think a lot of people, they start to settle in comfort, and being comfortable kills more dreams than failure ever will. Yeah, and I'm not exempt for that. I definitely got comfortable. Now, since I got this car, like one thing I noticed, that pressure actually creates urgency and power, and comfort makes you forget that. And that's why a lot of drivers struggle. Hell, maybe it's even you, man. Not because you can't do it, but because you get too comfortable to stretch, too scared to sit in discomfort long enough to grow. But here's some game. Every setback carries an equal or greater benefit if you open up to the idea of just looking for it. The situation with the rental car forced me to level up my mindset, sharpen up my strategy, and to reignite some hunger. It reminded me why I started this in the first place. Adversity has a funny way of humbling you, but also refines you. And for me, this challenge has already started to turn into an opportunity, and I'll be sharing some things with you that I'm working on the way to, getting this engine fixed. So this is going to be quite the journey. And now we're going to discuss how am I able to earn 2 racks a week consistently now. And the reason why I share all that information with you is to get to this point where we at now. How am I able to use all this information, use my experience to now earn $2,000, aka 2 racks a week consistently? It comes from not managing my time wisely, being too comfortable. Those things prevented me from not earning 2 racks a week consistently and not being as structured and optimal as I should be. So now, how am I able to use all this information to earn 2 racks a week consistently? Blah blah blah. Let's just dive into it. And it's funny because I still get DMs of people. Are you still driving? Or are you still making YouTube videos? Are you still making 2 racks a week? And yes, I am. But it starts before you even get into the car. It starts like, what is the prerequisites or the mindset that you should be in before you even accept your first trip? So basically what I do is, before I go online or start my week or month, I try to do like a monthly budget of writing down like my fixed expenses, how much I think I'm gonna spend on gas, subscription services, and all that stuff. And before, I was just doing on like my notes on my phone, just writing down, but I was just missing, a ton of things. So now, I have a actual like budget that I created on Google Sheets, which I'm really enjoying. And I do this for a few reasons. Number one, to see how much your fixed and your monthly expenses are. 2, to see how much money you could potentially save. And 3, you have to know how much money you need to earn to pay everything, man. And I think a lot of people don't do that. They just get out there, but I'm about to make 2 racks. No, they don't do it. Or I'm about to drive, 10 hours today or 9 hours. They don't do it. And what ends up happening is they end up falling behind on things. So you start off with the monthly budget so you can actually know how much you need to earn, God damn it. And once I do that, that pretty much gives me a daily income target. And I'll say, since I'm trying to earn, 2 racks a week, it's gonna say I need to at least make $286 or $300 a day, to hit my 2 racks a week goal. And I try to give myself some type of cushion or error. So I may take, let's say if I take 3 days off, or at the most 4 days off. But most of the time, it's not like, when I say take a day off, I don't drive at all. Some days I don't drive at all, but most of the time I'll drive for like 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 or 6 hours. It's not like a full day of driving. So that gives me, room for error. So I at least try to operate out of a 31-day month, let's say, 27 days, or out of 30-day month, like 26 days, to really, so I could really cover everything. And I'm pretty sure, like, if your goal is $286, which honestly, it'll probably be less than that once you calculate everything, all your expenses are. You probably don't need to make 2 racks a week. But if you do want to make 2 racks a week, you should be pretty profitable if you hitting 2 racks a week, pretty consistently. And as far as the budget, you'll probably struggle, for the first couple months because it's hard because you're like, damn, I didn't know I spend this much money. Okay, what can I cut back on? So I know for myself, like I said, the most thing I probably spend money on is just food. Like I really don't, buy stuff. So besides food. Okay. So next, so once you have how much money you need to earn per day, now you could leverage the market. Now you have to focus on the driving part and leveraging the market. So I know where I live, it's a tourist spot, you know? So on the weekends, like I know for a fact, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I could clean up. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's 4 days right there out the week that I know I could clean up. So I really try to take advantage of those days because those are prime time days for me. And I should easily make, $300+ a day if, I start early. And if I start early, I know I'm going to kill it. But like sometime on Sundays, I really don't necessarily have to drive and make $300 some because I'm like, all right, I'm in position. Like a couple weeks ago, I was just, 200, I'd make 100, 70 or $190 to hit 2 racks a week. I'm just gonna do that and go home early. So, like I said, man, you want to leverage your market. So, in Vegas, weekends are popping. Sometime the weekdays, if there's like a big business conference or convention. Last week we had SEMA, so it was like 160,000 people in. Sporting events, concerts. So I just try to plan my days and my driving times around times like where there's a lot of volume and people are congregating and moving around, and try to position myself in those zones where people are moving around, like I said, spending money and paying to have fun because they like to wind down. I need to have fun. I like fun. And Las Vegas is perfect for that. That's why I moved here. So you just have to understand and know your city's market and your rhythm, and you can really clean up. Next, once you actually learn how to leverage your market, then it all becomes about repetition. Once you can get out there, you earn 2 racks a week once. The goal is just to keep repeating the process, keep repeating the same steps over and over again. You build the system of things what work, from the hours, your zones, your strategy. Just keep duplicating it. Don't change it up, just duplicate it. And if you do want to change it up, maybe change it up later on when you actually have a rhythm and you duplicate the 2 racks a week multiple times. And it's like, okay, maybe I want to try driving at this time to see if I could do it at this time. That way you would know, but at least do it for 3-4 weeks or 3 or 4 times, so you actually know that you're capable of doing it. Then after a while, those repeatable habits become second nature. And before you know it, those $2,000 a week aren't a stretch. It doesn't seem as difficult because that becomes your standard and it just becomes easy. And last but not least, you have to block out the noise. There will be a ton of distractions, on your journey to hitting your 2 racks a week. So avoid, number one, the negativity from people. And most importantly, not even people. I'm not going to say people. Avoid the negativity from yourself, because your brain is going to tell you, oh man, just sleep in. You don't have to drive. Why you working so hard? So avoid that first and foremost. Just get out there and execute. Number 2, avoid distractions. A lot of people go, hey man, you trying to do this? You trying to go out? I know a lot of y'all married and got kids, and y'all gonna have to do family things. Y'all gonna have to make the decision to do 2 racks if y'all want to do 2 racks. Or I don't know what you gonna have to tell your wife or kids. I don't know. You figure that out. But if you want to make 2 racks, that's what you're gonna have to do. So a lot of times, a lot of people who do have families, distractions will be your biggest downfall. And last but not least, and this is pretty important, don't let your emotions dictate your day. That comes back to the negative, thoughts and emotions that you may have. Like, oh, just sleep in, or you don't have to do it, you don't have to work so hard, or forget this, you don't need to go out there and try to get these low paying jobs. They don't care about you. It's not a real job. Avoid all that. And of course, some rides are good, some rides are bad. So you accept the good ones and be more strategic, and you decline the bad ones. You know, it's not that difficult. So if I know I could get a better paying trip, let's say I start off and like my first trip was like $4, $5. I'm like, decline, because I know where I live in Henderson. I know a lot of people, especially like 5 in the morning. If I don't have a reserved trip, somebody's gonna go to the airport or somebody's gonna go downtown to the strip. So I'm not gonna try to do a $4, $5, $6, $7 ride when I could just potentially get a higher paying ride. So use your brain too. But it also helps. The more you're out there, the more you'll learn. And I'm gonna give you a few more little practical steps on and things that you could actionable things that you could actually do to win at the end of 2025 and 2026. Because at the end of this year, you know, you got, well, Halloween already passed. So you have Thanksgiving and you have Christmas, and that's pretty much it. But these are like premium times because a lot of people are going to be traveling and, you know, moving around because family, you know, getting together for the holidays, Christmas shopping. So stuff like that. So y'all could really maximize, holiday parties, you know, companies trying to, I guess, meet their last quotas for the end of the year, stuff like that. So y'all can really maximize, you know, your earnings because this was going to be out here. So here goes some actionable tips and things that you could do to increase your chance of winning 2025 into 2026. So number one, make sure you have your push notifications on for scheduled rides. This how I've been cleaning up a lot lately. You know, let me see if I got, because I got my shit on Do Not Disturb while I'm recording this video. So let me see if I have any scheduled opportunities. I forgot not to do that. Opportunities. Okay, so no. But as far as scheduled opportunities, I'm going to put them up here. Bam, because sometimes this is what it looks like. So I know, like, if it's a conference or a big convention or something going on where there's thousands, tens of thousands of people, I know it's going to be scheduled rides for sometime Thursday, Friday, and Monday, because that's a lot of people fly out. But make sure you have your notifications on, because sometimes, you know, those scheduled rides can really help you clean up. And if you see like some of these numbers, I'll try to do like rides I could go like anywhere from 2 to like 8 miles, get like $20, $16, $18, because it's real quick and it's high paying. And especially after they tip, you know, you may get like 20 some bucks. Yeah, so have those notifications on and frequently check if you don't have them on for you know, events going on. I know Uber has like a section, so it shows you the events going on each day, and also, you know, have and sign up for those stupid boost increases. You know, sometimes it's like plus 13, plus 9, whatever the case may be. Next, wake up early. You know, if you can start your driving by anywhere from the time frame of 4:30 to 5 a.m., sometime I have to be online at like 3:30 so I could accept those 4 a.m. rides. So if you can start around those times, oh yeah, you in the market to clean up. Because if you start at 5 a.m., like I said, 6 hours is 11 a.m., you got half of your day done. And hopefully by that time you at $200 or close to $200, and especially if your goal is $286 or $300, yeah, you almost done. Next, your target should be $286 if you want to make 2 racks a week. If you don't, make sure it's enough to cover your expenses. That's why I gave you the game to do your budget. Thirdly, or is that fourthly? Anyways, I think it's fourth. Fourthly, is that a word? Next, we're going whatever. Make sure you put in 10 to 12 hours if that's what it takes, man. Because if you could drive 10 to 12 hours, or at least 10 to 12 hours Monday through Friday, or if you wanted to do like a lighter, like Tuesday or Wednesday, and drive 10 hours Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you could clean up. You know, so the choice is yours, man. There's so many ways to do it, but, you know, make sure you're able to put in 10 to 12 hours if that's what it takes. Next, track your expenses. You know, every time you get fuel, you know, write it down on your notes, or if you have a budget app, Write it down so you can know how much money that you're spending a month on food, gas, and like maintenance costs. And last but not least, make sure you're in a good zone. Don't be in the middle of nowhere or don't wait too long at the airports. I don't see why people do that. You know, you want to position yourself to make money and you don't want to sit as long as possible. Sometimes I sit at the airport, but I'm waiting on the scheduled ride. That's the only way that you will see me at the airport queue. If I'm in the queue at the airport pickup zone, is because I have a scheduled trip. So make sure you position yourself for major events, sporting events, concerts, conventions, and you get busy that way. And hopefully everything is flowing because I haven't made a video in months, so I'm kind of out of the flow of things. So, but we about to get ready to conclude this video. And before we get up out of here, I want to talk about why the habits are the real goal. The truth is $2,000, aka 2 racks a week, isn't the real win. It's just a scoreboard that reflects how well you executed your plan, stayed disciplined, and showed up for yourself over 7 straight days. Every early wake up, every long shift, every time you choose focus over comfort, that's the real work. That's the foundation of success. The deeper meaning of 2 racks a week or 2 racks a week. It's not about money. As I always say, it's about the person you're becoming throughout the process. The person refused to quit, who operates with structure, who executes, and with intention every single day. The RVL method is designed to help you build these habits. These habits just don't make you a better driver, but a man or a woman overall. Because once you learn how to readapt, set a clear vision, and stay consistent long enough to levitate, you can apply the same mindset to anything in your business, your body, your relationships, and your entire life. The $2,000 just isn't the proof that you followed through, it's that you executed. But the real reward is in the mindset that you built along the way. You're not just earning the money, you're reveling into the person you were always meant to be. And ladies and gentlemen, what should you expect moving forward? More videos, man. I really got to get back in the habit and the groove of making more videos weekly or maybe once or twice a month, whatever the case may be, because my channel's pretty much stagnant. I got to continue this thing, continue growing it, continue the 2 racks a week challenge, 2 racks a week winners, and keep levitating. So definitely want to do that. Definitely want to continue the cause, and I definitely want to keep you updated on my journey to not only getting the Prius fixed, but also on this levitation journey to actually showing the skills that I've been working on and not just talking about. Because I know y'all probably wondering, like, where they at? Somebody that's gonna hate me. You ain't did nothing either. So shut up, man. I definitely want to share some things with that. And for the people who make 2 racks a week, I'm gonna try to put some of their screenshots up here. Bam. So thank you for reaching out. Congratulations once again for making it. I'm sorry that we couldn't get you either from my doing or your doing, but your work doesn't go unnoticed. And shout out to the dude in I think he was in Munich, Germany or something, who had made 2 racks a week. I really wanted to get on the call with him because that was like the first, not the first, probably like the third, the first European market. Like in Germany, 2 racks a week, that's crazy. So shout out to him, man, for reaching out. So yeah, that goes to show you, man, this movement is bigger than what you think. It's bigger than what I think. Like once I seen it, damn, you in Germany? That's crazy. So I appreciate everybody who's subscribed, who's been watching and really trying to do something good for themselves or their family. So that means a lot. But for the people who have been watching for a while, you still driving, drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. Are you still making 2 racks a week? Is your market died? Are you frustrated? Just let me know, man. Let me know what's going on in your market, what your weekly average is, and have you made 2 racks? Are you still making 2 racks? And what's been your biggest challenge? Like I shared mine with you, I share mines like time management, being complacent and comfortable, and not really maximizing and being as optimal as I should. So what's yours? That's why it's just so cool. Because I'm not perfect. That's why the RVL method is something that you're always going to have to practice throughout your life. So remember, readapting, visioning, levitating. It's 3 simple steps that you're going to have to implement over and over again in practice. So, yeah, just let me know, man. Ronnie Speed, over and out. I'm back, but I have to end it this way. Drum roll, guitar, piano, violin. Peace.